Namaste everyone and welcome to Data Millennials. Everyone, welcome back to our Google Data Studio series. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can add a table with heat map in Google Data Studio. So let's go to our Google Data Studio first, and I had created a blank report for sample as a YouTube tutorial report. Okay, in this we will be adding tables. So I have already added two data sources here, so I'll show you. And both of these two data sources which I have added here is shown in our previous video, is how to add data sources. Okay, so when I talk about table, it's a simple tabular representation of our raw data. So let's go and see how we can add a table in Google Data Studio. So first, what I'll do is that I'll click on this add a chart button. Okay, when you click on it, you will see the first option as table. So currently we have three available options with Google Data Studio for three different versions of tables that can be added in our dashboards. So I'll show you all of these three. Okay, so the first one is a simple table. So if I click on this then and go to my blank report page and click on it, then you will see that a table has been created. Okay, and based on your requirement you can increase or decrease the size of your table. Now if you want to change the data source, what you need to do is that you can click on here, which is under this data source. Under the data tab you will have this data source. If you want to change it, you will click on it and then you will see all the data sources which you have added within this report, or which is present in your Google Data Studio. So these are the sample data sources which is present in Google Data Studio, while these are the two data which we had added as a data source in Google Data Studio. So I want this transactional detail, so I want a table on my transactional detail data. Okay, so once you clicked on it, then it will take some time for Google Data Studio to refresh the data. So currently by default, when I select the table, Google Data Studio took out the city and the record count for each of the city. Okay, now even if you want to drag the column size or change the column size, you can do it by clicking on this small dotted line, and then you can drag it either to left or right. Okay, so this is our first table. Now I will go through each of these options. So the date range here is select that is that it's provide Google Data Studio provides us a flexibility that whether if you want to select this entire data within this table for a particular date range or not. So currently we do not have that requirement, but if you want to do that, you can click on this date. If any data points in your sheet has dates, for example I had two date column, one date and date 2. So by default Google Data Studio has taken this date, and if you want to change the date selection, then you can click on that button and you can rename it. Okay, so I do not require this right now, so I'll remove it from here. Now my dimensions currently is city. Okay, I don't want this dimension to be as a city, I want it to be a card type. So if you want to remove a dimension, you have to press on this cross button to remove it, and if you want to add a dimension, then you click on this add dimension, and all the default columns will be provided here. Either you can select the column from here, or you can write the column name here. For example, if I want to take card type, then I have to type down card, and you will see this card type is appearing here. So I'll click on it. Now once this card type will appear on my table, and if I want to add another dimension, so for now you can see that card is appearing here, right? And if you want to add another dimension, then you can again click on add dimension. Okay, and now I want the gender. Okay, so I'll click on it. So you have a bifurcation of card type with the gender and the number of records that is present in your data. If you want to change the metric, then you can add another metric here also, as if I want to add the amount total. If I want to get the total amount, then I can click on this add metric and I can write amount, and by default amount will take the sum as it's a numeric value, right? Now if you want another optional matrices, then you can turn this on, or if you don't want it, then you can turn it off. The another option here is that rows per page. If you want the number of rows, currently it's showing us 8 rows, right? So if you want, by default it will select 100, but if you want to change the number of rows, you can select it. For example, if I select 20, then what will happen is that by default, if I'll increase the size of this table, it will only show me 20 records, okay? But as based on the card type and gender type in my data, there are only 8 unique subset that comes up as this, so we will have only 8 rows. Now if you want to show the summary row, you can click on it, and what it will does is that it will show you a grand total at the bottom of the table. Now there you go, you see this, you have a grand total at the bottom of your row. Now we have sorting options available. If you want to sort the record based on a particular field, then you can do it. For example, by default Google Data Studio has taken this sorting at a record count level, okay, and it's descending. If I want to change it to ascending, I can click on it, and my table will be sorted at the first level, or at the primary level it will be sorted at ascending level for record count, and then again we have this secondary sort level. If you want to add another sort, you can click on it and you can use this amount, okay. Now if I want my amount to be sorted by ascending or descending, I can select it from here. Now currently we do have date range in our data, right? And if you want to apply the selection of dates, for example for last 1 month or for last 1 week, you can do it from here. So let me show you. If I click on this comparison date range, if I click on it, and if I click on this fixed range, then I have to select manually. For example, if I select 1 September till 7th of September, the start date and end date, and then I have to click on apply. So currently my data won't change because I do not have data for that particular date range, so I'll remove it. So if you want the previous periods, then you can click on it, and based on your selection it will show you the data will be get reflected in this table, okay. So the another option for this dates we have available is previous year. If you want to show the data for previous year, you can select this. If you do not want to select any date range, then you can select this none, and within this advanced, if you click on it, then you have this option where you can select date and the another date value where you want to put the comparison. So this is the flexibility with the date option which is available in Google Data Studio. So I do not want any of the data based on my dates, because in my data the date is a dummy column, it doesn't have any impact on my data, so I won't select it. I'll select it as none. Now if you want to apply any filter, okay, so for example if I want to see only, or if I just want to reflect the data only for a particular city, then how can I do it? To do that, I have to apply a filter on my table, right? And to apply filter sorry, you have to click on this add a filter. If you click on this, then you will get this filter create filter option, where you have to put the name of the filter. For example, I'm putting city filter, okay. The data source is the one which you have selected while creating this table. Now if you want to include a particular character, then you can select include, or if you want to exclude a particular city, then you can select exclude. So currently I just want to include a particular city, okay, and I want the field as city. The condition would be you have multiple options here, okay. Now let's go and instead of include, I'll put exclude, and I want my filter to be applied on cities. Suppose if there is any customer whose city is not present in the data, then I don't want to be showing it on my table. So I'll select exclude city and the condition would be is null. So what it will do is that it will exclude all those data points which has blank as city or null as city. So similarly, if you want to put in condition, then you will have to give number of parameters, for example in Agra, Delhi, Mumbai, separated by a comma. If you want to search for a particular regular expression, that whether the regular expression contains a certain value, then you want to exclude it, you can use this. If you want to match a particular regular expression, then you can use this option. If you're not very sure about the character, that how does the character ends, or if your character has some alphanumeric or something which can change based upon the requirement, so you can use this start with option, so that you know that the first 3 character or the first 4 character will always be the same. So you can use this option start with. And if you want to exclude or include a particular type of data points for a particular column, then you can use this contain option. And if you're 100% sure that the car type or the gender column or the city column, in our example the city column, I don't want, for example, Agra to be included there, so I know that the city name won't change, so I'll use this equal to, okay, for my filtration. So currently I have chosen is null and I'll click on this save button. Okay, now whenever you will go to your edit whenever you will be on your this page and you select this table, you will be able to see all of these options that you have applied for creating this table, and even you will be able to see this filter option. So if you click on this small pencil button, then you will be able to edit the filter which you have applied earlier, and you can add multiple options here. If you click on add, then you will have multiple options. Similarly, you can add multiple options. So for now I'll just keep this one, as the city should not be null. I'll click on save. This was the first thing that I wanted to show you with this table. The second thing is that if I go to style, okay, now the first option within style is conditional formatting, which requires a lot of time, so I'll explain it to you in our next video, this conditional formatting. So let's go to our table header. So if you want to show your table header, then you can click on this button. If you uncheck this button, then what will happen, the column headers will be removed. Okay, if you don't want the user to see the column headers, then you have to uncheck this button, but we do not want this, we want to see our column headers, so we'll click this. Now if you want, so for example, I'll just show you. Currently I have this record count, okay, and I want to keep the table size of this much. Okay, now you will see that the record count won't fit in this with this length, right? And if I want to fit it, then I have to use it, this wrap text. Once you use the wrap text, then your header length height will be increased, and you will be able to see the full header value. If you want to change the header color, then you can select this option, and from this option you can select the colors to change the header color. And if you want to change the size of the header, then you can use this one. If you want to change the font of headers, then you can use this one. Now we are at the table colors. So this first option shows what kind of color as a background do you want in your header. So I want it as white, so I'll keep it white. Okay, now this cell border color, this means that what would be the color of the borders. So if I select this dark black, then you will be able to see that the borders has been applied. Okay, you can see that the row borders is applied now. Okay, now this one is the odd row color. So when you select a particular color, then every odd rows will be colored in that, every odd row will have this background color. For example, if I select this one, then you will see that every odd row has yellow color, and this one is even color. So if I select this one, then every even rows will having this background color. Now what is the table label? So if I want to change the font color, then I can change the font color. So this table labels means that if I'm changing the font, the font within the table will be changing here. Okay, so I have selected this black color. If I want to increase the size, then I can increase the size from here, and I can change the font here. Okay, so within the table body, if you want the row number, for example, you can see here its row numbers are present here, right? So if you want this row number, then you can keep this button checked. Otherwise, if you uncheck this, the row number will be disappeared. And if you want to wrap text within the table, then you can use this option. As you can see here, this signature card is not appearing properly with this width of this column, right? Either I can increase the width from here, or the another option that we have is that we can use this wrap text. So once you use this wrap text, then you will be able to see the values properly. But I would suggest you to use this wrap text when you have huge data points in, like, the data points won't fit with a suitable width of the column. Now we have this table footer. So the first option, by default it's checked, is the show page, right? So you can see here at the bottom we will have this page. So how many pages do we have, right? And if you don't want to show it, then you can uncheck this button, but I would always suggest you to keep this one so that the user can see how many pages or how much they have to scroll for seeing the entire data. Now if you want to compact this page, then you can click on this button so that it will get compacted. Now the another option is the footer border option, where you can apply border on these footers of the table. So if I select this as black and the border as 5-pointer and solid, yeah, let's keep it as solid. You have multiple options here: dashed, dotted, and double. Now what about the missing data? So suppose if there is card type as gold, and for male we have this number, but if it's missing, then what do you want to show it? Show it as either null, dash, zero, no data, or blank. So most of the time you can use either null or dash, so that the user can understand that for this particular row currently in the data set there is no data. So whenever you will have a missing data, you can show it as either dash, null, or no data, or blank. It totally depends upon you. Now currently we have two columns here in this table: column 1 as card type and gender as column 2. Okay, so I'll just increase the size of this table so that I can show you in a more better way. Currently our column 1 and column 2 are left aligned, right? Now suppose if I want this card type to be right aligned, then how can I do it? In order to do that, you have to go to dimensions. Within this style tab you have this dimensions and column 1. If you have 3 columns, then you will see here column 3 also. If you have 4 columns, then you will see column 4 here also within these dimensions. Okay, now if I want to be right aligned, then I can click on this right align so that your entire column 1 will be right aligned. If you want it to be centered, you can use this. Okay, for right now I'll keep it as left. Similarly, we can select the alignment for each of the columns. Now we have two matrices here. The first one is record count and the second one is amount. So most of the times when we show numbers on a report, we would want it to in center, right? So I'll click on this center to align this record count in center, and this column number 1, you can see by default it has selected number, right? So when we are creating table, we have 3 options in table. First one is simple table, the second one is heat map, and the third one is table with the bar graph. So currently I'll select number only. When I'll be showing you the other 2 table, then we will be using that bar and heat map. Okay, now if you want the numbers to be shown absolutely, then you can use this table as it is. Otherwise, if you want to show the numbers in a compact form where you can show these numbers which are written 3067 as 3k, 30k or something, then you can use this compact number. So what will happen is that it will show you 3.1k. okay, and the decimal precision. So if you want your decimal points, so currently it is at auto. If I want 3, so I can use this. If I want 1 decimal point, I can use this as. Similarly, we have column 2 alignment also, and this number, heat map and bar map. So currently we'll use number only, and I want my amount to be aligned in center. I'll click on this. Even I want the compact numbers for this one also. So whenever we are talking about compact numbers, what will happen? The thousands will be reflected as K, and millions will be reflected as M. Same here for decimal precision, I'll keep 1. Okay, now what for with this table we have this background option. We have this option to change the background and border also. So let's select the background as gray. Okay, and this gray won't appear here in the above section. The reason behind it is that in this table colors option we had selected yellow color and light yellow color, right? If we had selected none of the colors, then this option, this table color option, which table background, would have been seen here, or it would have been in effect. So this border radius and opacity, it totally depends upon you whether you want to use it. So let's go to this border color. Within this border color, if you want to select any other color, you can select it, but I'll use this black color. Okay, and the border weight, if you want to increase the weight, you can increase it, and I'll select this double as my border style. And if you want to add border shadow, you can click on this button and it will add a border shadow. Okay, now if you want to show the chart header, you can select it as do not show, always show. Okay, and this option for text color. So currently I'll leave it as it is. Okay, now our table is ready. If we want to view it, then we can click on view, and you can see that your table is here, right? Now we have only 8 rows, that's why it's showing 1-8 out of 8. Okay, now with this table, what we want to do is that we would want to replicate this table for our other 2 tables also, in order to show you that how exactly the other table look like. Okay, now you remember that we have these table with bars and table with heat map, right? So what we'll do is that we will copy this table. Okay, I'll copy this table and I'll paste it here. So once you paste this table, you will see that the entire thing which you have used in your table, in your previous table, is same for your new table also. So what I'll do is that I'll go to this chart table option. Okay, and from this I'll select this table with bars. Once I select this, then the entire thing will change, and you will have this bar graph instead of numbers here. Okay, so this is the table with bar graph. So let me increase the size of the layout so that I can show you the other table also. Okay, great, 1500. Now again what I'll do is that I'll copy this table. Okay, I'll paste it here, and for this table I'll use the heat map. So once you use the heat map, what it will do is that it will show you the numbers, as well as it will show you the frequency, or it will show you the comparison of the numbers within the table. So I'll select this table, then within this chart and table I'll click on this small drop down, and I'll select this third option, table with heat map. Now you can see that you will have a separate color, and separate color for record count and a separate color for amount. And as per our first table, where we had selected yellow color for our odd rows and light yellow color for our even rows, which this is not applied here, because in this table we had heat map, and the table background which we had selected as this gray color, we can see it here, right? Now what I want to do is that I want to change this heat map color, background color. Okay, So what I need to do is that I need to select this is this table. Then I have to go to style. Then within this I have to scroll down. Here you will see this matrices. Under matrices you will see this heat map. So when we created this first table, we had this as number, right? Now within this second table we have this as bar. Let me show you this bar and pub. So you can also change the colors from here. Okay, let me select this red color, and this column 2 let me select as blue. Okay, it's blue only. Let me select some other color. This one. Okay, similarly we have for this third table with heat map, we can go to style and we can change this heat map color. So I'll select red one, and for this one I'll select this deep red one. Okay, let me select some other color, this one. Okay, now we have all three tables which Google Data Studio provides us for our report creation. So if I click on this view button, I'll be able to see all those three tables here, right? So you can see that the table structure is same, but there are few differences within these three options under this table. So the first one has the simple table, the second one has the bar graph. So the only limitation with this bar graph is that you will be able to see only the bar, not the number, unless you go and keep your mouse pointer at that bar. The third table, the third option, the table with heat map, is one of my favorite, where you can see the numbers as well as it will provide you a heat map for the numbers. Okay, so we have reached at the end of this video. In our next video I will show you how you can apply conditional formatting on the table. Hey, if you find this video insightful, then do check out other videos and hit the like and subscribe button.